Nigeria has battled Boko Haram insurgency for 10 years, the United Nations estimating the death toll to 27,000 Nigerians. Are we winning the war? Again, the Wall Street Journal recently released an article on secret graves for Nigerian soldiers. Is this true or is it false? This is Plus Politics, and I am Maryann Okon. According to the United Nations, an estimate of 27,000 Nigerians have died between 2009 and 2019 in the ongoing Boko Haram insurgency in Adamawa, Borno and Yobe. President Buhari says he will do more to ensure the war on insurgency is won, but are we winning this war? Joining me to have this conversation, I have Dr. Olaibibe. He is a political analyst joining us for the segment. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Dotson.
Thanks for having me.
An interesting analysis there by the Wall Street Journal and several other issues. Now, Mr. President has also said that he's strategizing on how to win this war, to reduce the number of people that die on a daily. But generally looking at the war against insurgency, how well have we fared so far?
To me, we haven't fared very well, really, see, because when we're talking about Boko Haram, we need to talk about it holistically, I mean, the root cause, how it exploded, the indoctrination, all those kind of things. Now then, it comes down to the systemic problem of Nigeria also, because Nigeria is still a geographic expression. It is not a country, you see. So we undermine ourselves, security-wise. Boko Haram is going on there, the next man that can give you intelligence on Boko Haram is looking at Boko Haram firstly as, something Islamic. Secondly, northern whatever, that is it. So 9 out of 10, you're going to see sympathizers, even within the security forces, that are supposed to tackle them. So that is the basis of the problem. So what we're going to do to counter that is what we really need to look into, really.
Now, the issue of terrorism is something that one should not play with or handle in kids' gloves. And one would wonder why we would allow sentiments to come to play. Seeing the number of people, this is what, the figures that we just reeled out, 27,000, that could be 2 villages of people who have died so far. And we know how many people have been displaced. There are people who are still in, camps where, displaced people are. So should we not be sensitizing people, starting from there? Because if they're sympathizers and there are people who feel that these are people from their locality or maybe they believe in the religion, then we have a problem and it might be a bottomless pit. We may never be able to end the war against terrorism.
It's very, very fearsome, you see, because you first have to look at the indoctrination. You see, the terrorist has no sympathy or sentiments for anything. The objective is just go out there and commit havoc. That's the objective of the terrorists. So there's no sentiments, there's no sympathy for anything. Coming from there, there are some people behind these things, trying to destabilize government. They don't want President Buhari to have peace. We need to call it spade.
So you're trying to tell me that there are people, it is a Buhari problem? Boko Haram has been there under Jonathan. In fact, it started briefly before Obasanjo left office. So forgive me if I do not agree with the term that people are trying to not let the president have his day. I don't think it is about that. Let
me expatiate on that. You see, Boko Haram started with Modu Sheriff, the governor of Borno State. That was his military wing of his political campaign organization. That is what he used them for. Then they brought this boy, Yusuf. Yusuf came out. They made him commissioner or something like that, Eventually, they brought in some Islamic indoctrination into their setting. They now outgrew Modus Sheriff. They even wanted to kill him at the point in time, but he's the root cause. He's the genesis of this whole problem. You see, so now going from there, when they captured Yusuf, soldiers captured Yusuf, gave him over to police. Hey, what happened? They killed him. It exploded. That's the problem we have today. So Boko Haram started from something.
Of course, it did start from something, but we know what that something is, even though the picture is not so clear. But how do we start nibbling it in the bud? Because, like you said in your opening, some people attribute it to the North. It's a northern thing. So maybe people down south don't really appreciate, you know, how bad the situation is. But maybe if there is, again, back to my question, there is some level of sensitization as to how grave an offense this can be, or what the repercussions can be. And in fact, the people in the North do already understand, because there are people who, like I said, are living in IDP camps. There are people who have run from state to state. Maybe there has to be a broader sensitization of sorts, governments leading that charge to get people to understand that if you have been housing these people or covering up for them, or even the people in the Northern Extract, the people who are Islamists, should also try as much as possible to educate their people to see that these people are not supposed to be hiding under the guise of Islam to perpetrate violence. I'm saying maybe, because this is what the world over is doing. Why can't we do that?
You see, that would be good, but look at our peculiarities. Look at the idiosyncrasies of those areas, you know what I mean? Look at, come back to Maitasin, right? 1881. I mean, we saw people that came back. We saw people that, you know, are intermarried. See, maybe this Yoruba woman is married to this Hausa man for 7 years, 10 years, they have 4 kids. The moment that thing starts, it is the Hausa husband that will tell them to go in there and go and, you know, take the Kafari Sadana. That's the wife now, not an ordinary person.
But some people will tell you that that's an allegation, that it's baseless. Because it's happened one or two people have done it, does not mean that it is a generality.
Well, to me, it's not an allegation, because we have interviewed a lot of people over the years. I'm not talking of, this is not a phenomenon of yesterday or Boko Haram. It's been coming up like that. So it's not a new thing. Then who do you want to sensitize? You want to sensitize the illiterate Almajiri that has been stoned, that has been given tramadol and codeine, that is not even thinking to start with, you know what I mean? Who are you sensitizing? The displaced person in the IDP camp is already displaced. So who are you sensitizing?
But you make it sound like it's something that we cannot really salvage. It's a situation that cannot be dealt with. It's like you're saying, well, let's throw in the towel because, you know, it's a lost cause. That's how you sound. No, I'm not. I'm sorry if I'm sounding like that, but it's not a lost cause, no. It can be salvaged. You see, but we need to go about it the right way. What are the right ways that we need to go about it? Because Mr. President has said he's going to take some steps, like increasing the number of security personnel, installing CCTV cameras on highways or on other strategic locations so that activities of some of those hidden can be brought into limelight. Yeah, I mean, so I'm wondering, are these strategies also something we can use in fighting terrorism? I mean, number one, we must consider is we don't have lights, steady power supply. Thank you very much. With all due respect to Mr. President, see, those are, you know, reactive measures in security. You see, your security is as good as your intelligence gathering capacity. That's very, very vital. Mm-hmm. What do we have on ground? You know, we have had cases of Zakari Biu taking Sokoto from detention after 6 weeks, saying he's going to search his house, right? You know, sabotaging the system. Then you arrange, you say you attacked, they free him. Mm-hmm. The guy is gone. You see, because I don't know, maybe you're from the same locality or whatever. But this, for goodness sake, this is a terrorist. It's a criminal. But because you're coming from the same angle, you know, you arrange for him to go scot-free. Then you are retired, and then you are brought back again to the police force. You're not aware of Zakari Bill, one commissioner of police one time like that, you know what I mean? The Mandela Bill bombing in Abuja, all those kind of things, you know? I remember. So, see, when we have things like that, we're not going to move forward, you know? It has to be a clean sweep, And you've just only pointed one, because yes, intelligence gathering is very important. Apart from that, how else can we? Because, like I said, terrorism is an international phenomenon. Yeah. France is dealing with its fair share. Germany has also, I mean, as far as one of the Scandinavian countries did have a recent attack. After Norway, there was this other one.
There was no way before.
I can't remember, but you know, it's an international phenomenon. But you have also said something about the fact that we need to look at the uniqueness of our environment. Looking at the uniqueness of Nigerian space, other than intelligence gathering, how do we win the war against terrorism and most especially insurgency, other than what Mr. President has put out here?
I'll go back to it. Intelligence gathering is the first step. You see, if you have good intel, right, you will know the saboteurs in your own system that are going to collaborate with the terrorists. Case in point, when the United States came to start the Equatorial Guinea High Command here, no? Gulf of Guinea High Command, they did some surveillance. They saw Boko Haram somewhere around Sambisa Forest. No? Then they were discussing with Nigeria Army High Command as to how to go and smoke them out using maybe gas, whatever. 2 days after, they went up again. Boko Haram, they had gas mask. You know what that means? So intelligence will tell you to saboteur. You need to get the saboteurs in your system to be able to be effective to counter terrorism.
If under the Jonathan administration, a similar thing had been said, I remember it was news when former President Goodluck Jonathan said Boko Haram had people in his government. The same thing, recently, President Buhari has also made mention of something like that. If it has taken 8 years plus 4 years to still be saying the same thing, could that amount to the fact that we're not doing what needs to be done and we're paying lip service to it? Or is it that it's beyond us, or maybe it's above us?
It is not beyond us, it is not above us, it is the Nigerian problem. We're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. You see, because the man that's supposed to do something is going to show some sentiments. It's going to relax. Oh, these are my people. You know, I cannot, you know, take the wrong, strong approaches. You see, Mr. President can employ 1 million policemen tomorrow. They will only come after the fact. But
is sentiments or tribalism, whatever we want to call it, not going to be our greatest undoing? Or if it's not already our greatest undoing? That brings me back to orientation as Nigerians, because this orientation doesn't just lie with terrorism. It also lies with the kind of clashes that we have, communal clashes, you know, even with the federal system of government, you know, with the whole, we have to have somebody in government that is from different, we all have to be represented. It is our greatest undoing. Why can't we go beyond that?
Federal character. You see, when you go back to Aburi Accord, we were looking for confederacy, a loose form of whatever, you know. You see, which is the best form of government for Nigeria. This federalism is a misnomer, you know. We cannot move anywhere with what we have on ground now. We can't move anywhere. We need confederacy, you know, to start with. Then we go from there.
Well, interesting. And for security chiefs, Mr. President is yet to change any security chiefs. It looks like it may never change anytime soon. Could that also be part of the problem, changing of the heads? Or is there already a systemic rot that needs to be dealt with? Because, like you said, there are saboteurs within the security system. If maybe the head is rotten, like we say in our local parlance, maybe that's what runs through the whole system. Because we know what they say, you obey the last order.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think to lean with that school of thought also, is because like, okay, these guys have been there, you know, for so long, things have not been going right, and I don't know why Mr. President is still retaining them. I mean, they're supposed to have been fired longest time now. Inject fresh blood, I mean, make them sit up. I mean, when you know, you see, when there's a deterrent, you're going to sit up. You know, I mean, if under your watch, the box stops on your table, if this happens, they show you the door. You're going to do everything within your powers to make sure it doesn't happen like that. Mm-hmm. See, we need that. So
this is the next level. And in the next level, we've had all kinds of things. I mean, Mr. President has even said that he's in meeting with royal fathers from the Southwest, and they've outlined a number of measures that they will take in improving security. They're going to have community policing initiatives. They're going to be revamping police intelligence gathering that you've been talking about, the capacity. He also says he will be issuing directives to the appropriate federal authorities to speedily approve licensing for states to use drones to monitor forest and criminal hideouts. So the next level is another 4 years, and after that the president is out the door. But this next 4 years also determines if Nigeria deteriorates or progresses. What should we be expecting?
Well,
realistically,
the points he has laid out as measures, they're very good. See, let's talk about community policing. When you say community policing, it's going to incubate. It's going to take time to germinate. You know what I mean? It's still a long-term thing. Community policing. Then who are you employing? You see, because now the average policeman is not joining police for altruistic reasons. We have heard stories of people coming from the village will contribute money, they buy primary school certificates, they pay the lecturers at police college. No, these are realities, So to make sure he graduates, the moment he graduates, he's beholden to them. The first thing he has to do is he must recoup the investment that the village put together, to get him there. The system is rotten. What applies here applies across every strata of society, So it's not just, but those are good measures. If we can have sincerity of purpose to pursue these things, we need more hands on ground because, we're under police, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. We are really under police. But CCTVs, CCTVs will capture what has happened, right? Now, look at police and bail as a case in point. When there's a case, police will not give you bail. No, not that they don't want to give you bail, because the man does not know where to see you. You are not properly identified. They don't know where you stay, You can melt, and then look at the porous borders we have. So these guys come in from Chad, from Mali, from everywhere. They come into the system, they commit atrocities, they melt, and they just go back because we don't have border posts throughout the north. Don't let us fool ourselves. So it's just easy passing. They just come in and go out. So those are, that defeats the purpose of your CCTV to start with. So you see the people that have done something, but how do you apprehend them? Because they have gone back to their base.
I heard a question on a radio show 2 days ago, if not yesterday, about the same CCTV. Abroad, the CCTV does capture your face. You can identify the person because you have information in your system. Do we have a data bank that captures all that information where you can even use, because you made a great point, we don't know these people, we don't know where to find them. So that's because we don't have information. So are we not addressing issues on the surface? Are we not, instead of starting from the basics, we're more like putting a plaster on the cancer?
That's why I keep saying we need to do the right things. See, you have said it yourself now. CCTV captures somebody like they're out in London. They capture that person. Hey, they know the mother, they know the father, they know they have all information about him. But here we don't have any information, We don't have any information. So it's defeatist. CCTV as a case in point to capture criminal activity, it's not going to be effective.
Quickly, before I let you go, there have been analysts who have tried to identify the source of crime and criminality, terrorism, and all of the gangsterism that we have been experiencing in Nigeria. And they all come up with a uniformed, idea that poverty is the underlying thing. Lack of education, basic amenities, there's no good life, hence the reason why sharp practices have become the order of the day. Could we say that maybe if government does what government is supposed to do in terms of giving us basic amenities, access to this and that, maybe that could go a long way in reducing the amount of crime and criminality that we're experiencing in Nigeria, or we have been experiencing in Nigeria?
Yes, it will go a long way. See, but we have to divide crime, into categories. You see, the crime that poverty causes is different from what we're talking about now. See, crime is a function, right, of intention and opportunity. So when you see a hungry man that has no hope of anything, that's a man that can go and steal. Maybe you see somebody's pot of stew, he steals it, That is a different ball game from, a bank robber.
But
right?
Some would also say that it grows from being a highway criminal to becoming a terrorist, a kidnapper, and asking for ransom. That it grows from level to level, and then we end up with guys who wield guns and you know, with rocket launchers and all of those things. It starts from somewhere.
Yeah, it starts from somewhere. Then they get hardened. That's why I say we need to separate, we need to categorize crime, you know, in different categories. I mean, soft crime that comes from poverty, you know, then crimes that come from deprivation, indoctrination, and when you're going to level of terrorism, you're not more looking at, you know, the ordinary run-of-the-mill criminal on the streets. You know? It's a different ballgame entirely. So, well, poverty elevation is good, no, but hey, we need to restructure the country.
We have bigger fish to fry. Well, thank you very much, Dotun Alaribibe. He is a political analyst. We'll take a short break. He's not going anywhere. When we return, we'll be speaking on the alleged secret graveyards filled with Nigerian soldiers. Stay with us.